Trade season is here, y'all. Desmond Bane has been traded to the Orlando Magic for Cole Anthony, Kentavious Caldwell Pope, the 16th overall pick of this draft, a 2026 first rounder with swap rights between the Suns or the Wizards, two of the Magic's first round picks, one in 2028, one in 2030, and as well as a 2029 top two protected pick swap. Okay, y'all, I'm going to just talk about this trade, and I'm going to talk about it from the Magic perspective first, because I think this is obviously they got the best player in the deal and they gave up the most assets. This isn't, I'll say this is an interesting move, but not completely unexpected. The Magic have been look in search for scoring from the guard position since last offseason, and they tried to get that with KCP. Specifically mainly for his three-point shooting and his defensive impact, but it's not the same KCP that we remembered from the Nuggets series. I don't believe that this version of KCP can be a starter in the same way he was for the championship Nuggets and the championship Lakers. However, I do believe flipping him for Desmond Bane is good. Before first round picks and a swap, it's a lot. It's a lot. Um, for a player of Desmond Bane's caliber. And this is no disrespect to Desmond Bane, but this is just to say that look, like I feel like they could have gotten a lot more had they leveraged their assets in a different situation or for a different player. Um, I mean, he's probably going to be the starting two guard next to Jalen Suggs in that backcourt. And he has averaged 21, 6, and 6 without John Morant uh, when he was on Memphis this past season, obviously. But yeah, he's always been an effective three-point shooter. I want to say he shoots around 40%, 41, 42%. And that's coming off last season, I believe. So he's very solid. It's a lot to give up for a player of his caliber. I can't lie. And it's a big contract. It's a really big contract, y'all. It's like I think at the back half of this contract, he's gonna be making 41 mil. So it's a lot of money to put into a third option. But nonetheless, I think he adds a lot to this team on the offensive side of the ball. And I will say the Magic, I don't want to say this is addition by subtraction because I love Cole Anthony's game and I do like Kentavious Caldwell Pope's game. But getting off of Cole Anthony allows Anthony Black, the rookie, who I think showed some really good flashes of being a very good ball handler. But Anthony Black, who I think he's gonna be really good. I think he's gonna be really good for his team. Um, for the next few years to come. But he's gonna take up those backup point guard minutes. And I think he does everything else well. He's not the best shooter right now, but he's a good defender, good playmaker, good rebounder at his position. I want to say he has some good size for the point guard position. I want to say he's like 6'6", 6'7", maybe 6'5", but I want to say he's in that 6'5" to 6'7" range. And he's very good. He's long. Not to mention Tristan Da Silva should take up some wing minutes. Now KCP is gone, and this does make them interesting. However, from the financial aspect, they are a second apron team, which if y'all don't know, that means that their mid-level exception is I want to say either cut down to 5.7 million or it's completely revoked. I think the 5.7 million is the first apron, but still, like they don't really have a mid-level exception, I believe. And no, they have the taxpayers mid-level, which is gonna be 5.7 for this year. I will double check that in a sec, please. But yeah, um, not to mention, the second apron also does not allow them to aggregate, like to add up player salaries to make to like so basically consolidate salaries. Like let's say they wanted to go and get KD, they cannot get KD because they would have to add a ton of salaries or they would have to trade somebody in their core and a ton of picks for KD. And I don't think they would do that. But yeah, this is interesting, not from a talent standpoint, but for a financial standpoint, because I think they're kind of locked into this core. They're very much locked into this core of Suggs, Bane, uh, Wagner, and Paolo. Unless they want to trade those four guys, for at least the next 2 seasons, they are locked in. So I think this makes them a playoff contender. Obviously, they should make a deep run next year. They should at least make it past the first round. If you are a second apron team, you need to be making it at least into the second round. Y'all should be making a playoff push, an Eastern Conference Finals push, respectfully. But yeah, now for the Grizzly side of the ball, I think this is where things get interesting. Because I don't have many notes. I'm just going to go kind of off the top of the dome with this. But they are not even a first apron team. They have a ton of cap space to work with. Right now, they're at like, I want to say negative 30 something million cap space, but they have a lot of expiring contracts, not to mention KCP's coming off the books next year, which makes me think, oh, like, this makes me think, and I hate to have my Brian Windhorst moment. Something is afoot in Memphis. Something is something is going on in Memphis. And there are two things. One is the obvious one. JJJ, Jaren Jackson Jr. is eligible for a contract extension. And so he's eligible this year, but his contract is up next year, right? So my thinking is either they will sign him to a 4-year, $146 million contract extension, or if Jaren Jackson wants to bet on himself, he could play his way into a $345 million contract extension by ending up on an all NBA team next year. If he wins, if he is on an all NBA team or wins Defensive Player of the Year, his contract extension is bumped by $200 million. So they could either go all in on that, or they could be rebuilding completely and they could just start from scratch because they do have a solid young core. Gigi Jackson is good. Scottie Pippen Jr. is good. Vince Williams Jr. is very underrated. Santi Aldama is a solid player. So yeah, so they have some pieces that they can work with here. I really like the idea of them. Wait, let me double check if Santi Aldama is on this team. He is no longer on this team. My bad. Not Santi Aldama. Zach Edey was the bigger player I was thinking about. My bad. Zach Edey's a really good young player I was thinking about. Santi Aldama, I want to say, was traded to the Jazz. I know he was traded in the offseason. But yeah, so they can go either route or they can retool. And one thing I think about with the big fishes in the trade market, not the free agent market, the trade market. There's one big fish who clearly has been angling to one retirement, and that is Kevin Durant, because he is 37 years old. And it seems that this next team he's on will be his last team, or it will at least be his last contract extension. And it seems that he's angling to go to a place where there is no state income tax. The state of Tennessee does not have income tax. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but the Grizzlies pose an interesting trade package for the Suns when it comes to KD. Because first and foremost, let's talk about Desmond Bane being traded. Going back to the Desmond Bane trade, Desmond Bane was the Grizzlies' biggest contract on the books. It was their biggest contract. So either they want to rebuild or they're completely retooling and they're like, look, we don't want our biggest contract to be Desmond Bane right now. And I fully understand that. Because even with Jaren Jackson Jr.'s extension, he would be paid less than Desmond Bane. You're at least early on in his contract, he would be paid less than Desmond Bane because he'd be making 32 million while Desmond Bane would be making, I want to say 36, 39. So yeah, this is an interesting trade for financial reasons, but also on the trade market. but also because of yeah, like I said, this is really big for the trade market because 4 first round picks. Oh my goodness, pickflation is a real thing. All right, if y'all don't know, pickflation is a combination of just picks and inflation. Simple. Picks are just have become so invaluable in the NBA trade market. It's become ridiculous. And in all honesty, I thought that the Cat trade and the Luka Doncic trades were able to at least not fully reset the market, but at least offset some of those picks. Because in an ideal market, Desmond Bane is 1 or 2 first round picks. But four and a swap? No. That's a respectfully, that's a lot. And comparing this to the McHale trade as a Knicks fan, I know it's a biased source. I don't care. That is a worse trade than we made. Don't care. Because McHale at least contributed to a finals team. McHale showed like legit like all NBA flashes as a first option when he was with the Nets. Especially when he first got moved in that KD trade and he was averaging like 26 a game. I mean, he's shown to be a solid first option. And Desmond Bane, I'm sorry, he hasn't done that. He really hasn't done that for me. And on this Magic team, he's not going to really be that first option guy. He's not going to put up gaudy numbers. Like, yes, he's still going to be an effective player, but not worth 41 million dollars on the back end of his contract. He's not worth that. Respectfully, and he's a great player. And you know, I love to see somebody get his money. But I'm not paying that if I'm a general manager, man. I don't want that on my books. So Memphis can go. But tying this back to Memphis, sorry, y'all. But tying this back to Memphis, Memphis can go multiple directions with this. Because look, the package for KD, what is it the best? No, it is not the best package they get. But they can make a compelling offer. Because KCP goes in that trade. Cole Anthony probably goes. And then you give them you got Jalen Wells, Scottie Pippen Jr., G.G. Jackson, and Vincent Williams Jr., Zach Edey. Honestly, Vincent Williams Jr. is gonna be immediately put in that trade. Sorry to him. I mean, not even sorry. He's a good player, but yeah, he has to be put in as a throw-in. And then you're probably getting two out of the four of Zach Edey, G.G. Jackson, Jalen Wells, and Scottie Pippen Jr. Actually, really two out of the three because Scottie Pippen Jr. is already 25 and still a young player. But if the Suns want to go that rebuilding route, they're gonna want a younger guy than 25 years old, or they can go Cole Anthony. Because I think Cole Anthony is one of those guys who's going to be thrown into that trade if they make that trade. But but I can see a world where the Grizzlies don't rebuild because I've seen people talk about the Grizzlies rebuilding. That doesn't make sense. I'm sorry. I understand the West is a bloodbath, but you have two franchise cornerstone players in Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. And it's hard to find a franchise point guard nowadays, and it's also very hard to find a an elite shot blocking big who can guard 1 through 5 pretty effectively, and then also space out your team. I mean, come on, right? You don't rebuild with two 26-year olds on your roster. You re-sign them to a contract, hope they get better, give it 2 more seasons, and then you trade them and rebuild if shit hits the fan. And I just felt myself getting a little annoyed with some of the discourse about them rebuilding. Because I can understand where you're coming from. Because yes, they traded away Desmond Bane, a core player, but he was overpaid. Let's just call a spade a spade. He was overpaid. Especially with this new CBA, who was overpaid. And this team needed financial flexibility to really improve the roster, especially now in this times. So I think they're gonna go full retool here. Yeah, I really do believe they go full retool. They draft somebody. If they don't trade for KD, now they trade, use some of their picks for some other star. Maybe they go after Anthony Simons. I could see that. I think he might be a better two guard option next to Ja. He has more self creation capabilities. I believe he's younger. He's like, I want to say Anthony Simons. How old is Anthony Simons? I want to say he's like 20, 23, 24. So yeah, like, oh, he's 26 as well. Oh shoot, damn, I'm old. But he's 26. But yeah, like, I think he's gonna be really, really good. And in all honesty, I don't see them rebuilding soon. I really can't see them rebuilding soon. I think this is a retooling move. But with that being said, what do y'all think of the trade? And peace, y'all.